Do you want him fired? Do you want him to stay? Depends on which side of the fan aisle you're on. But a lot of people are upset about Hubert. A lot of people want him gone. I have been a Hubert supporter the entire time. I think a lot of Coach Hubert. Um, this game, I do think there are adjustments that could have been made that were pretty obvious as far as substitution patterns and getting fresh bodies in once you get that 19-point lead. So I can understand people's ire with what he did and not getting, substitutions in for people to even make a case for him. But it was like a revisit of the title game against Kansas, and it was almost like trauma. You know what I mean? As a fan, it was almost like, I'm rooting for you. Don't do this. We want you to win because we want Carolina to win. Ultimately, all fans, they bicker back and forth, get them out of there, and you know, some people really are die hard about him, and I have been one of those die hard people because I really believed in his mantra, and I still believe in his character and what he brings to the team, and but the X's and O's, there was a trust issue. He didn't trust the bench, and as much as those guys were playing and he was yelling at them about closeouts, like their legs were dead, bro. Like they couldn't close out. They were trying. They did all they could. You had to trust the guys that were on the bench, you know, and you didn't. And now it is what it is. But these are the things that affect, a player's mindset. Like Seth Trimble deserved better than that. I think Seth Trimble deserved a chance, and he needed some help, and he trusted his guys, and he's been in the fight with his guys all year, and they've had his back when he was down, and he's had their back when they were down, and they didn't get a chance to play. And in a lot of ways, that wasn't right. I understand, like, regardless of the X's and O's and the substitution, it was more so like you got there and that was their chance too. Like, I understand you may have been looking at it a certain way, Hubert, but that was their chance too. Those kids have been practicing and playing games all year and being without each other and coming together and bonding. And, once you were up 19, a lot of different faces should have came in the game. And they didn't. And unfortunately, that's not the UNC way. Like, we've always won by committee. We've always had, like, Duke gets the one and done guys lately. Like, it's been that way for like a decade and so. But we still win. We still have championships within that time period. So it's like there's a way to do it, but it didn't. It was like the remnants of what Roy left that year is what got us to the championship. And that's what made everything happen. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I do love Hubert, and we all think he's a great guy, I think, but that's just not something you do, man. What he did last night, like, it was blatant disregard. It was like, I don't even know if it was like stubbornness. Like, what are you doing? Are you trying to prove to us that you were going to win the way you lost? Like, what was this about? Why did you do this? You know what I'm saying? It was obvious these people were tired. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't know anything about basketball, you could just look at these people and say, maybe I should, like, you guys want to come in for them because they look a little tired. You might, you know what I mean? People that don't even know anything about basketball would say that. looking at these people. And that's what happened. And it was crazy that we had to just sit there and be like, bro, like, I don't know if nobody on the bench, like, none of the coaches were like, if I was a player, I would have said, coach, let me spell him for a little bit. Let me. Like, there was no need for it to be that crazy. And you can't blame the people that want him to go. But I will say this. I would like for them to have more context like I just did with the X's and O's. Because like I said, I've been a supporter. Um, I want him to do well, but not at the expense of Carolina. Because, I mean, that's not doing well if you lose. And these bad records that you're creating for yourself, it's almost like to protect him from himself, get him out of there. And keep his name, and his legacy at a certain, you know what I mean? Because right now it's just plummeting. And it's not helping the brand, it's not helping him, it's not helping anyone. And that's what Hubert has to realize. Like, he's probably going to get another year because of the recruits coming in. I'm just saying, like, if that's what's going to happen, you have to switch up, bro. Like, you have to trust your bench. Like, you might need to go to a sports psychologist because that is a crutch of yours, like, where you show your true feelings about your team. Like, that can't be good for people to want to come back next year. You know what I mean? And I'm not sure if he's trying to bring back or not bring back. Like, obviously it'd be great to have Caleb Wilson back, but he's not coming back. We all know it. Henry might not come back. You never know. But it's just really tough. It's really tough that we lost that way. We didn't have to lose. That's what was crazy. And I've been saying Caleb Wilson is not there. A top, you know, 3, 4 draft pick was not there. So that hurts a lot. Like, it's not like we weren't built around this kid. We were. Our entire team was basically built around him. And he got hurt, and we lost before then. It's not like we were invincible, but I'm just saying, like, he would have helped a lot. It would have been cool to see him play, and I feel like we were kind of like a car without brakes, and not the engine. Like, we could move, we could run around, we could do it, but he was the brakes, meaning when the bleeding was going, he would stop. He would stop. Okay, here's a score. Here's 8 quick points. He makes the other team adjust. Like, he himself was the adjustment. And I think that's what we saw, is that Caleb Wilson was so good that he was the adjustment. All right, Caleb, you go. Give it to him. Let him go. Caleb on the fast break gets the rebound or something and just goes and does stuff that only a Caleb Wilson could do. But without him, it became committee, which is the Carolina way. Just saying. It is. You know what I mean? You go back, Ray Felton and the boys, they're going to, Ty Lawson and Hansborough, you know what I mean? Justin Jackson, and I mean, like, you got to look at it the way it's supposed to be. Like, those dudes weren't crazy wild guys, but they were coached a certain way. Like, they got better because of the coaching. And I do love Hubert, and I would love for him to do great. But if this is what it's going to be, man, nobody's going to be pleased with this. And Hubert shouldn't be pleased with it. It's not like we're bashing Hubert. Like, I, for one, love Hubert, and I'm glad he's the coach, but I don't think the decisions that are being made are good. Not anymore. I just don't. And they're not, they're not helping him by allowing him to do what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anybody wants to help Hubert Davis out, remove him from that position. Put him in another position. His ego may not allow him to take another position. And maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But, and I don't even know, like, if you want to go inside the Carolina family, who do you get? You can't get anyone, that's available right now. But even so, they're going to have to go outside of it. Like, but who do you go get? And that's the question. Um, but I think right now, a lot of fans are like, you go get anyone. It don't matter. You switch it. You don't just sit there and wallow in your own filth. You switch it up. And I think a lot of fans are that way right now. Like, a lot of fans are just like, look, man, I've been there. I've been ride or die, but you have not produced. And that's just not the Carolina way. And that's just not fans aren't going to be happy about that. I'll go ahead and tell you, I live in North Carolina. UNC fans are not going to just sit there and be like, oh, well, no. They're not going to allow themselves to become NC State. They're not going to start being happy about little wins. They're not going to do it, bro. Like, beating Duke is expected. People be like, oh, this rivalry. Like, Carolina fans, and just like Duke fans, they expect to whoop the other when they meet each other. If they're in close proximity within the rankings, or even if they're not, they expect the other one to, give them a fight at least. Like, some games it goes wild, but some games, it's tight. But I don't know how we won that Duke game. I don't. Great. I mean, obviously Caleb, he did his thing, but it's being exposed now, man. It's being exposed, and it's time. I rock with Hubert. I wish him the best, man, but this can no longer happen, Hubert. You know what I mean? Like, we rock with you, man, but it's over with, brother. I feel that strongly. A lot of the fan base are coming at you, man. Like, and I just don't know how how things go from here, and being that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't trust your team. This is, you know what I mean? Year 1 and year 5, you did that, bro. Coaching doesn't have like a crazy shelf life like that. Like, you feel what I'm saying? You can't just figure your way out like that, bro. Like, that's the University of North Carolina, and they just used to a certain standard, and you know that because you played there. You dig that. But you got to understand what they want on that sideline, bro. You got to understand, and you're not giving it to them. And so they're going to be upset. A lot of people are going to be upset. They might still rock with you. They might still like you as a person, but they just don't think you're the right dude for that job. And, you can't get mad at them, bro. You got to understand at some point, man, like, they really gave you a chance, my man. They really gave you a chance. And a lot of things that, could have been done differently, they weren't. And, I'm not sure how things are going behind the scenes. Maybe he doesn't have the support that we think he does. I don't know. But it seemed like he, financially he had it. It just seemed like the wrong pieces were put together. Bogovac, not a giant fan of Bogovac. Evans, not a giant fan of Evans. I thought Young was better than Evans, personally. But that's just me. I mean, there's a lot of people that look at it a different way than I do, and that's fine. I'm to the point now that I don't see the positive of Hubert being the coach anymore. As positive as I am about Hubert and will continue to be, I want what's best for Hubert and the University of North Carolina, and what's best would be to part. Simply because the fan base does not want him there. A lot of the fan base, you know, there's, fan base that's vocal, and then there's fan base that hide it, and you know what I'm saying? There's undertones around Hubert, and we always knew there would be. But what you don't do is give people the right to attack you. And you got to work on yourself. You got to work on your coaching. You got to get better. And perhaps that's what he'll do, you know. But right now at the University of North Carolina, it's not working for Hubert and the fan base. And nobody can say anything to Hubert. It just is what it is. He's done his thing, and people are going to allow him to do his thing, either at UNC or somewhere else. We wish him well, but this can't happen, like this was bad. You was up 19, my boy. 19. You had a lot going for yourself. And the boys were like, they were tired, and you just didn't care. You can't do that. You cannot do that. But anyway, it is what it is. Fans are going to feel how they feel. I wish you were the best. Got all the love and respect for him. But I definitely think, it's time to make like a different decision as far as coaching. University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. But hey, who am I?